Welcome to Peculiar Stories, where we explore the fascinating world of near-death experiences and offer new perspectives on the meaning of life and death. Our goal is to shed light on these profound stories, deepen your understanding of life, and provide valuable insights to our audience. Whether you're new here or simply joining us again, we're thrilled to have you on this journey. If you enjoy what we do, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our latest content, and don't forget to hit the like button to help our content reach a wider audience. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to the edge of life and beyond. On today's story, during her NDE, Stella claims she had a guide that showed her life as a journey, and she was taken to her creator. Then she proceeds to share her experience with the creator. Without further ado, let's get to the story. My name is Stella Campbell, and this is my story. My sandal fell to the ground as I crossed the roadway. Without thinking, I went around to get it, and was struck by a car in the front. It was the most memorable blow of my life, but what came after was far worse. I realized I was seriously hurt when I saw myself falling into a tiny ditch at the side of the road. Perhaps I was going to pass away. I asked that, and as soon as I did, I was launched into the ambulance that was supposed to save me. The nurse's mother's ring was lost by the nurse, and I witnessed where it dropped. The driver then became disoriented. I was ecstatic since I thought I would never make it to the hospital at that point. But is it already over? I wondered. How blessed! Wow! I said as I walked into the tunnel, which oddly enough I seemed to know well, and headed home at a dizzying rate of speed. I had no desire to stop and take in everything in the tunnel. I simply wanted to get home. The tunnel was partially clear, and I could see points of light that appeared to be distant stars before developing into beams of erratic light that resembled the headlights of a car traveling down a curved road. I kept moving faster and faster until the light could no longer reach me. At that point, I realized that the tunnel was one long, barely perceptible curve, but I could still feel it. I eventually arrived at my house. Every inquiry I posed had an immediate, crystal-clear response, even though I didn't understand every response, and I was in eternity surrounded by light. I was surrounded by the soft sound of many voices, but I couldn't make out what they were singing. In a gently sloping field with soft grass, I strolled barefoot, and not far away, an oak tree stood out. It was a vibrant green like life, and it was more imposing than anything I had ever seen. I could go on for pages on that one tree, but I'll stop here. A handsome and respectable young boy was waiting for me beneath the tree. He encouraged me to rest, and I sat down on a wooden bench at a table with bread and red wine on top of it. My father had made wine on earth, so I know it well and love the red wine. He said, "Everything you see is like looking at clouds," after I had finished eating. "You think you see a small puppy, but it's only a cloud. You can see yourself at home now, but you must go back because you are almost there." I replied with a firm and stern no. Why I had to go while I was feeling so happy here baffled me. "Don't you miss your mother and father?" he retorted. "No, they'll be here soon and I'll see them again," I retorted. "Time has no meaning because it doesn't exist." He patiently and lovingly demonstrated to me how much I still have to learn by presenting my life to me as a journey. I had a few options, but I had to travel from point A to point B. While some objects were made of fresh clay that was still malleable and could be transformed into something new, others were constructed of marble statues that represented major events and my ambitions. I realized that all the prerequisites must be met, with free will serving as the most important of these because time does not exist. The circumstances for reaching the objective or missing it are determined by a succession of free will decisions and responses to circumstances. It is so liberating that one can always give it another shot. Time and space don't matter. The only thing that matters is that one meets the conditions in order to get to the right place. Such a place hadn't yet been reached by me. Despite all of this justification, I persisted in my refusal to return. He then gathered me in his arms and pointed out the river from which there was no turning back, as well as all the cities that lay beyond it. He assured me that I could wait for all of eternity and that I had nothing to fear because he had kept all of the promises. He spoke to me often, but I refused to pay attention because I wanted to stay in his arms and be soothed by his voice. I regarded his ring with childlike fascination. It has a triangle-shaped bas-relief with 3 intersecting curved lines. There was a special writing instrument that could write indefinitely. "Now you can return in peace. I overheard. I objected with all the obstinacy a little child is capable of. You must therefore communicate with my father, he replied. I agreed since I was unafraid and really determined. He led the way for me. I would have had to navigate a maze of hedges, but I was in too much of a hurry and tried everything to stay away from it. Next, knowing well that the only object there that might actually hurt me was this hedge, I hacked and scratched myself across the hedge in a straight line. The loving arms of the father then took hold of me. He addressed me by my real name, which translates to little monkey full of curiosity and rebellion, and I immediately knew him as my God, with whom I had previously played a great deal. Since what happened next is so private, I will only mention the conclusion. I should also note that when I lied, I was aware that he knew I was lying, but I persisted. He asked, "So, are you ready? Do you love mankind?" Me. "Yeah. More than yourself," he said. Him. "So much that you would give up your life?" Me. Yes, unconditionally." Him. "We haven't understood one another. Do you love me?" Me. "So much that I would stay for eternity." Him. "So if you love me and you love mankind as much as you love me, go back, and my will be done for their good." There, he tricked me for the good of all. The problem with arguing with him is that he is always right, I thought. But he heard my thought, and together we laughed our heads off. I don't know how else to describe it. I hadn't chosen. I could go back to Earth or away from there. The youth approached me as I was sobbing uncontrollably, and pleaded with him to help me forget, because being homesick might have hurt me. He assured me, however, that I would remember the incident when it was necessary, and I continued to suffer as a result. I was terrified since it appeared like I wouldn't be able to achieve my life's purpose. I pleaded with the young person, "Please, I beg you. I'm confident I won't get lost. Please, I beseech you. I don't want to let him down. If I mess up, please take me by the hair and bring me back here. At that time, I shall formally give up all of my freedom. Accept me even if I refuse." I wanted to deck him when he said, "I have faith in you," but he restrained me. He then grinned and said, "Sure, I will step in. Yet to the very end, I'll be here for you every day." Actually, the first part of the pledge was the only part that I cared about. I don't want to go through the horrible experience of the return trip again. I can claim that I returned to my body in a manner akin to donning a glove. First the fingers, then the whole of the hand. I then awoke on my own from the coma after experiencing sudden, severe physical agony, as the brain monitor showed. They want to hospitalize me when they take x-rays since my brain was virtually hanging out of my skull, and I still have such a scar. Nonetheless, I'm okay, and my recovery was attributed to the amazing capacity and responsiveness of children, per the physicians. As I awoke from my coma, I screamed at the medical staff, "Assassins, you lack comprehension. I could perish here. Make me return. Stupid you all. Help me pass out." I didn't start to feel better until I saw the first nurse who had misplaced her ring, and I told her where to look. So I made a great effort to remember everything, and by everything I mean even the things I shouldn't have. The doctors sent me to a group that looks into NDEs because they were very concerned about me and how I was feeling. They also ordered psychological support. Today, at the age of 40, I can admit that I had no idea how accurate he was. I'm grateful, Father. Watch this near-death experience next about a girl who tried to lie to God in the afterlife.